Hello everyone, ex-Bethelite here, and I want to talk a little bit about one of the things that make it difficult for people to transition out of the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses, and that's trying to find a church, trying to find a spiritual path. And one of the things that make it difficult is that so many, if not all, churches are very, very different from Watchtower. You're used to, on Sunday, having a Watchtower studying a magazine. You're used to someone having microphones and passing them to you as you raise your hand to give a comment. Saturday, you're used to going somewhere to meet and then to get ready to go knock on doors. You're used to circuit assemblies, used to district assemblies, you're used to the terminology, circuit overseer, pioneer. See? You're used to the structure that you had while you were in the cult. And then when you leave and you start to look at other churches, it's hard to feel comfortable because those things aren't there. And one of the things that people, definitely myself, I struggled with when I left the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses was holidays. So you're trying to go to a church and make it your home and feel comfortable there. But it's hard to overcome the holiday issue. And one thing that helped me was to just think about, as an ex-cult member, as an ex-Jehovah's Witness, how difficult it was for me to assimilate into a Christian church. Very difficult. Everything is so foreign. And Jesus was not foreign. I knew who Jesus was. I knew what a Bible was. The entire structure wasn't foreign to me, but it was just so different. Churches are so different from cults that it was difficult for me to transition. Well, if you think about that difficulty, compare it to how difficult it would have been for people who weren't Christian at all, who never heard of Jesus Christ. For the missionaries back in the day, when they're talking to people that never heard of Jesus, never heard of the church, didn't know what a Bible was, they had, just like us as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, a structure that they were accustomed to, celebrations that they were accustomed to and had been a part of their entire life. So would it be easier for an ex-cult member, an ex-Jehovah's Witness, to leave the Jehovah's Witnesses if there was another church that taught accurate doctrine but had a magazine that they studied on Sunday after a public talk, that had a place to meet on Saturdays to go knocking on doors, that had the same terminology, circuit overseer, pioneer, auxiliary pioneer? Would it be easier for a Jehovah's Witness, an ex-cult member, to transition to a church if that church had things that were familiar to a Jehovah's Witness? I would say yes. It would be very easy for a Jehovah's Witness to just go to a church where the structure was the same as the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses that they just left. So think about those early Christians trying to bring people into Christianity, and it was completely foreign to them. They probably weren't going to, a lot of them probably weren't going to get it. A lot of us, when we're leaving, it's hard for us to understand what's going on in churches because it's so different. So for these people that weren't Christian to be able to hold on to some of the things that they were accustomed to, the structure that they were accustomed to, the celebrations that they were accustomed to, the things that they had been doing their entire life, to be able to hold on to that but change the doctrine, would have made it a lot easier for people from a completely different religious tradition to assimilate into Christianity. Now, is it wrong? Well, would it be wrong if another church had a magazine that they studied on Sundays? Had a person that passed a microphone and was question and answer, just like what we're used to at the Kingdom Hall. And they were doing it, the church was doing it to make it easier for Jehovah's Witnesses to assimilate out of the cult and into Christianity. Would it be wrong to have something that made it easier for cult members to come to Christ? Well, that's something that you have to answer, but that made it easier for me to understand holidays, because if it was that difficult for me to walk into a church, I was afraid to walk in, as a lot of former Jehovah's Witnesses are. You walk into a church and the cult told you so many bad things about a church that you're thinking demons are going to come and get you. Monsters are going to come and get you. If there's statues, the statues are alive. Like, you're thinking all these things. And imagine these people who were worshiping probably completely different gods. And for them to join a completely different religion, worship a completely different God, it would have been very difficult for them. There may have been things that they were afraid of, angering their gods. So to make it easier for people to transition into Christianity, some of these holidays seem to mimic what they were, the structure of what they were used to, while changing the doctrine to be more about Jesus Christ. So if you think about that, does it make it easier for us as ex-cult members to then be able to go to churches and you see a Christmas tree, and instead of saying, oh, that's wrong, oh, it's terrible, you think about, well, it's difficult for me to transition into Christianity, and I'm just coming from a cult that was mimicking Christianity. Imagine how difficult it was for the people a long time ago to come into Christianity, and it was completely foreign. That's why that's there. It's just there to help them. It's there to, so they see something familiar. So comment down below. Let me know what you think about that. And give me some more ideas on what you think could make it easier for people as far as transitioning. 937-789-4029. We'll discuss it. X Walk Hill Bethelite signing out.